Israel has returned the bodies of 30 Palestinians, bringing the total number handed over under the ongoing ceasefire agreement to 195. Israel's military confirmed that the remains of two more hostages returned from Gaza have been identified as Aryeh, Zalmanovich and Master Sergeant Tamir Adar. In total, 15 of the 28 Israeli hostages promised under the agreement have now been returned. Gaza's health ministry has reported that 57 of the Palestinian bodies have been identified by relatives, while 54 unidentified bodies were buried. The funeral procession began at Nasser Hospital in Khan Younis and continued to a cemetery in Deir el-Balah. Let's listen in to what some Palestinians said.
نقوم اليوم بدفن 54 جثمانا جثمين ابناء شعبنا الفلسطيني الذين سلمهم الاحتلال الاسرائيلي. هؤلاء هم شهداء الدفعه الاولى والدفعه الثانيه. وجدنا جزء كبير من الجثامين معصوب الايدي، معصوب القدمين، معصوب العينين، تم اعدامهم مسافه قريبه، وبالتالي فقدنا عدد كبير من الشهداء الكرام. سيتم دفن 54 جثمان من الدفعه الاولى والثانيه. 165 جثمان وصلوا الى مستشفى ناصر بحالة حقيقة صعبة جدا، واليوم هناك بروتوكول معين موجود من أجل مواراتهم الثرى بطريقة إنسانية، لكن هناك أغلب الجثامين الموجودة لم يتم التعرف عليها ولا على ذويها.
نيجي هنا على الله وعسى نتعرف من هواي، من البنطلون ومن الترنجو، من اللي هو طلع فيه من 7 أكتوبر، لكن للأسف فيش ملامح يا الله ليه؟
Andrew Latham, Professor of International Relations, is joining us live from Minneapolis. Andrew, thank you for being with us on NewsX World. Let's just, talk about this entire transition, this process. What do you make of how it's going so far, the pace? Are you hopeful or are you disappointed?
I remain guardedly optimistic / hopeful. By and large, the ceasefire is held. There have been some violations on both sides, but people are shooting at each other less. And the hostage for prisoners and body exchanges, there'll be bumps in the road, but they seem to be going more or less according to plan, if not quite as quickly as people on both sides would hope. Phase 1 of this peace process was always going to be relatively straightforward and easy. I say relatively because it's not uncomplicated, but the Israelis and Palestinians have been here before in terms of hostages for prisoners. Phase 2 will be much more difficult. Disarmament and marginalizing or disbanding entirely Hamas as a political actor and agent in the Strip, that's going to be very, very difficult. And then future stages, which are still quite aspirational, are going to be even more difficult. But so far, there are grounds for guarded optimism. The process appears to be unfolding, even though there have been some setbacks.
Right. Now, of course, with the currently the bodies handover taking place, what is the next stage? What happens next?
Well, providing that all the bodies are returned according to the agreement, first of all, there's going to be some issues raised about the state of these bodies, to what extent the corpses suggest abuse in captivity on both sides, and there's going to be a propaganda battle around that for sure. If we can build momentum, then perhaps disarmament. I'm old enough to remember the Northern Ireland peace process when the issue of disarmament came up there as well in connection with the Irish Republican Army. And modalities were worked out. And the IRA over time disarmed in a verifiable way that the other side was able to live with. And so if we can learn some lessons from that historical experience, perhaps disarmament is possible in the Gaza Strip as well. Israeli withdrawal for the disarmament of Hamas. The real problems are related, adjacent to that, but not exactly the same. Will Hamas disband itself? And is that meaningful, or will it simply rebrand as something else? That's going to matter a very great deal, and the way in which the Israelis perceive Hamas's moves in that connection are going to determine whether the process continues to unfold or whether it stalls out at a ceasefire. A ceasefire, by the way, there was a temporary ceasefire in Korea 80 years ago, which still holds. So a ceasefire might be the best solution, both in Ukraine, but since we're talking about Gaza right now, in Gaza as well. That's where we are. There are so many contingencies, so many possibilities. I don't always quote Karl von Clausewitz in these connections, but I will here. Contingency, luck, fate, these play an important role in this process. It's not just reason and it's not just passion, it's also luck.